1998 saw some pretty good shows come out. Trigun, Initial D, and the very first Ani-vember review, Cowboy Bebop, to name a few. So let's talk about the trippiest of them all. Serial Experiments Lain is one of those shows that you either really love or really can't get into. As intelligent and provocative the writing and the tonal shifting is, it's also very front-heavy in the themes and atmospherically weighty that is a lot to take in. And we're covering it not only because I personally think it's a great show, but I want to look at Lain's and this period's core essence, technological avant-garde. Following the suicide of a classmate, a middle schooler named Lain and her peers receive emails from the supposedly deceased girl. However, the letter claims that the girl's not dead, but actually ascended to a higher plane known as the Wired, which is sort of a virtual heaven, if you will. Finding a sort of emptiness in her own world, Lain begins to investigate the existence of the Wired, and gradually descends into a digital rabbit hole of others who seem to believe in its greater powers. It all comes ahead when Lain finds herself entangled in the religious zealotry of people who claim she's a key fixture in the grand scheme of things. How will Lain cope with the technologically cosmic horrors to come? And what does it say about the nature of man's relationship with machinery? So I think the first thing to address with SEL is its similarities to another popular media that came out just some time after, The Matrix. While the idea of cyber religion and the question of human conscience amid growing technology isn't new, The Matrix and the art that inspired it boosted the philosophy to a wider general public. While the stories aren't one for one, I do find it interesting how one's about the cognitive decline of the world into escapism, while the other's more of a conscious rebellion against restraints, with both using similar themes of digital identity and deism. More so, The Matrix is closer to an existential seminar, while Lain leans more into a grotesque horror show to make his point. And it's a strong point. Lain's key strength is the dreadful atmosphere. The world, or worlds if you will, of the show are quite empty, filled with life, but devoid of living, if that makes sense. Only aspects of the denizens is surface level. It isn't until more of the schemes of the Wired into people's lives where they emerge into roles of bystanders, initiators, reactors, etc. There's a sinking unease in how the Wired implements itself into the people's lives, as it makes for a compelling form of coping with the struggles of everyday life. Whether if they connect with the real world to the Wired or if they simply escape to it in search of clarity, it's a fascinating analogy that ages like wine every day. Sometimes it's not subtle, but the steady atmosphere of uncertain waters is consistent throughout the show. This makes those particularly unsettling moments even more disturbed, as not only do they work with the creepy and unnerved writing well, but the overall presence of a slowly engulfing entity becomes all the more amplified. So the question is the Wired consuming us terrifying, or is it the fact that we let it? When it comes to a head, the most regrettable parts of human disconnection come into play, ranging from social outcasting to the interweaving of reality and virtual amorality, like killing people in real life thinking there's no line to be crossed like in a video game. Perhaps extreme to a great event, but it's not unheard of and is still a growing issue in today's world. Lain is one of those artworks that have the furthest from concrete answers you could get, and it benefits on the audience taking in the atmospheric prose of how to interpret the growing world of social networking. There's no easy conclusion, or even a conclusion at all, and what you're left with is the lingering feelings of the unanswered. As far as the genre goes, shows like Lain, Textualize, and Black Mirror, as well as films like Ghost in the Shell and The Matrix, key into those sci-fi questions as legitimate means to tie humanity's connection to tech, social media, and logistics. Lain in particular does this phenomenally in bringing uncomfortable situations to the forefront, as the days pass, they become more realized by the second. Serial Experiments Lain is a trip. It's a dark dive into the subconscious of man's profile on the web, and a prolific oracle into the things that came afterward, be it dependency on the internet, the masking and unmasking of obscurity, and even the dangers in finding solace in belief. It's a show that gets the proper amount of attention year by year as its message becomes more relevant as days pass, and yet it's one that also doesn't stray from overexposure. Whenever people discover it for the first time, they usually have high praises for it for its tackling of modern issues despite its age, and rightfully so. It's an eerie, dreaded, and phantasmal look into the future while also addressing an equally fearsome present. Plus, it has a really dope opening by the English band Boa. whether if you log in out of curiosity or think there's something greater to be had in viewing it, you can't go wrong tuning in to the cyberspace.